at the Financial Clinic. Welcome and Happy New Year to everyone. I am so glad to be with you, to be your host today. If today is your first time, this is Financial Clinic. I am your host, Dare Shokumbi. I am your number one financial coach that focuses on financial clarity. All right. And this is my job, to move people from financial chaos to financial stability. And that's what we are here to do. We are going to have another amazing day today. It's been a great one for us throughout last year. So today we're going to kick off from where we ended last year, when we were talking about how to increase your income. But drilling down, of course, increasing your income is not just about money, it's also about you. And that's why the focus today is on you. All right, so let's talk about how to move from basic to boss. How to move from basic to boss by boosting your value. All right, the truth is, everyone has an intrinsic value. If you don't know it, then you don't know it. Many people, because they don't know it, have been trampled upon. They've not been able to get the raise that they deserve. And a lot of times, people are not able to mind themselves, look into themselves, and become better persons because they do not know these things. And this are the things I'm going to share with you today. Okay, so let's start on the right. Okay, so if one day you meet me and I have two rocks, and then you see me hold those two rocks, and I request that, well, do you mind buying one of those rocks or the two? And of course, it looks so familiar. You just look at me and take a walk. But this is it. Supposing as you move through the door, you got a hint that these rocks were actually diamonds. And I want to sell it at a ridiculous discount. Of course. And this is verified. What would you do? You likely will come back. And even if you're not buying, you would want to see what these rocks are. Now, that is how humans are. Humans are like diamonds in rubbles that most times are not unraveled. They are kept. And many people spend their days, their years, not even discovering their true value. Humans are like that. They are gems. Every human on this space, of this planet, are gems. But what limits them most times is because they do not even know their value. Unlike rocks, it is now the responsibility of any human being to unravel themselves, to unleash themselves to the world around them. Many people do not know how to unravel themselves, how to open themselves up, how to be sure of the value they carry. That's what we are going to be talking about today. And why are we talking about this? Number one, it's a new year. And in such a new year, it's a time to start afresh. It's time for you to start afresh. If you've not been evaluating yourself correctly, you've been cheated because of certain things you were unclear about, and perhaps you're walking on the pathway, and you are still confused about your identity. Today, we're going to solve some of those puzzles. Another reason we are doing this is that if you know your value, you will be less trampled. People will not trample on you if you know your worth. You will know the you will not take. You will know the things that you can take in relationships, in friendship, on the job. You know when to call it quits because you have a personality and you identify what it is. And lastly, your value determines your earnings. If you know your value, you can boost your earnings. You know your value, you can boost your earnings because you will be able to boost your earning, your values, such that it can rise to a certain level. I'm going to give you a hint on this today. All right, so let's get started. Today, I'm going to be talking about three things you must define or you must be clear about if you must uh, unearth yourself and if you must give yourself to the world so that the world can be able to maximize your use because we are all here to be used. We are all here to be used. So let's go on the right. So I'm going to be talking about just three things that you must be able to define, three things you must be able to answer, three things that must be clear to you if you must understand your value and improve on that value such that the market can pay you for that value. Are you ready? Let's go on this journey. So the first thing you need to do, or before I say that, let me just ask this question. If Albert Einstein walks into this room, and maybe you've seen his picture, what would you identify him as? You'll identify him as a great scientist, all right? If Aliko Dangote of Nigeria comes into this room, and what would you identify him as? The richest black man on earth. Okay? All right. Let's talk about celebrities. And let's say Burna Boy enters into this room. You will identify him as the Grammy Award winner. Isn't that true? Yeah. But is this who they really are? Is this who they really are? Many times we define people, and unfortunately, our world has been accustomed to that. To begin to define people by certain things, by their achievements. However, humans were not designed to be defined by their achievements. So, if anybody asks you today, oh, who are you? You would want to say your name, right? Your status, and your achievements. By that I mean your name, the name your parents gave you, right? Your status, oh, where you live, where you stay, and your job. These are three things that people use day in, day out to define who they are. But the question is that who they really are? Is that? So this is it. I have noticed that every great man does not define themselves by their achievements. Great people do not define themselves by their status. They don't define themselves by these things. The truth is, they define themselves by their identity. Many people walk around. Everything is a gift that every other person gave them. And that's the identity they keep carrying. The identity their parents gave them, their name. The identity that someone else gave them, their achievements. The identity that the society gives them, status. Oh, I live here. People are not meant to be defined by these things. And that's why the Bible says something. It says that a man's life does not consist in what he has or of what he has. Your life, that's not who you are. But have you sat down to try to understand who am I? Who am I on the face of this earth? Who am I in the surface of this space? Who am I? Many people have not been able to define this. That is why they run after the wrong things, run after the relationships they have. Because some people don't have an identity apart from the person they are betrothed to. Many people don't know themselves. So I'm going to be talking about three things that you can use to define yourself. And these three things are innate in the sense that you have them already. It's not like somebody's going to give them to you. These were the qualities that you were born with. Yes, some of them might have been influenced by the society, but to a large extent, they explain you the more. The truth is, if you really know your identity, you will stand out and you will be able to grow from inside out. You will not expect that the things outside, the people that do not know you will not expect them to define you. You will not expect the social media to define you. Every external forces, you will be able to separate external forces from your person. So these three things, you must be able to define them. The first thing is your values. Your values. And your values are the qualities that guides your way of life and decision. The qualities that guide your way of life and decision. So, what are the qualities you have? And this is what I tell people whenever I'm doing this test with people. I say, okay, sit down, all right? Sit down and make a list of values. Make a list of values: integrity, excellence, love, kindness. Make a list of all the values and see the one that resonates with you the most. Which one do you think is most important to you and that you have displayed towards others? So your values, you should be defined by your values. In those days, our grandfathers, they have their values and they hold dearly to it. Say, no, I'm not going to cheat for any child. No, my name, I have built a name. Guys, everybody needs to build a name for themselves. Whenever anybody hears about you, say, oh, that guy can be trusted. Oh, he is so loving. And those are the qualities that should guide your life. They are the qualities that should define you. So get at least 2 or 3 of them. I say, okay, now I have identified my value. You can then describe yourself by your values. So I've been on evaluation sessions on several occasions, and I've asked some staff, okay, why should you be promoted? And I have heard them say things like, oh, because of the economic situation. Really? It is because people do not know the things they value. I mean, the values they hold. They don't have an identity. So everything with which they explain, everything with which they describe themselves, or the reason for this or that, is just based on external factors. But your value can come into play where these discussions have been had. You have an interview, your values can come into play. Right? The second thing is your philosophy. That's the principles that shapes your beliefs. Or even if you're not going to go all the way to your philosophy, you could just talk about your beliefs. What are the beliefs that you hold dearly? Most people are just influenced by the beliefs of other people. They do not have their own beliefs. And these things actually define you. They define you. Your values, your beliefs, and the last one is your personality. Every human has a personality. All right? So you could go online because your personalities are a collection of traits that determine and describes how you think and how you behave. Collection of traits that determine and describe how you think and how you behave. And this is all the way available online. You could just go and search for Myers-Briggs personality test, and it would throw it out. You can do the test and identify who you are. If you know who you are, you do not need the world to define you. And you will not have to be reshaped by the world. You can walk out of a relationship because you know what you carry, because you know who you are. You can walk out of a job that is not treating you right And the truth is, if you know who you are, you will be able to develop on those things. So let's say that you found out that your value is the value of love. You want to learn about how to become a more loving person, value of integrity. You want to learn more about becoming a trusted person. So, next time when you're told, who are you? You should be able to define yourself along the lines of your values. Your values should determine your job, the job you take. Your personality should determine the roles you play, should determine the person you marry. Your beliefs should determine a lot about you. So, this is going to just give you clarity about who you are. And that's the first question, your identity. Who are you? All right. The second thing I'm going to be talking about today is that will help you increase your value, because the first one is focused on knowing your value. The second one is more of like focusing on an ambition, and that points to your purpose. This is the question of purpose. Why am I here? Why am I here? Right? What are you doing on this space? Now, that question, we can look at it from two different perspectives. The first is your purpose. Why are you on earth? And the second is the purpose of being on that job, of being in that relationship. So, you're on a job. One of the questions you should ask yourself is, why am I on this job? I could remember before I got my first job in 2008, it was a banking job, and it was such an amazing one for me. I, I resumed at in the head office, I mean, at that point. And when I got there, I even didn't know whatever was going on. I mean, I didn't know what was going on, but I was just sent to a department. And when I got to that department, I noticed that I worked in that department for 2 months. And after working for 2 months, I found out that two bosses were lobbying for me. One of them wanted me in his department, and the other also wanted me. So the more of like the senior boss was requesting that I leave that unit and then join him. And I was like, of course, I wasn't at the picture at first until both of them started arguing, and I was in the middle of it. I was like, what happened? So it was later that I was told what happened. And this was the gist. The gist was this: that before I came to that department, the senior boss had asked for a new recruit, and I was supposed to be in that department. But as they saw me from afar, they said the guy used one term and said, "This is a Jew man," meaning that he's so blank, he doesn't know Jack. He looks too too blank and kind of lost. However, that was the definition they had about me. But before I started the job, I had gone through certain trainings that had helped me, even right from the university, that has helped me and shaped me to be able to know what to do and ask questions like, why am I here? And at that point, when they have seen my performance for 2 months, the bigger boss requested that I should move to his unit, that however were the ones that requested for him and all that. But that is because over the time I understood who I was and why I was there. And this is it. Many times when you ask people, why are you on the job? They say, is it not because of money? If money is the motivation, the only motivation for being on that job, you cannot be as productive. If money is your only motivation for being on that job, you have the lamest motivation. Every human is here to solve the problem of other people, and money is supposed to be the last on your mind. And many times I have heard young people finishing from the university, okay, I want to pick this job, and then the next thing is it's really about the money. I'm not saying you should not be well compensated. No, far from it. But I'm saying, even when you're well compensated, what's why are you here? Define your why. Understand your why. What are you contributing to this organization? What's so special about you? Why should we have you here? What's the lacuna that is here that you can fix? Okay? Don't be myopic by having money as the only reason to be on that job, the only reason to be in that business. Only myopic people will pick money over purpose. To be myopic is picking money over purpose, picking financial gains over purpose. Why are you there? You're a business person. Why are you doing the business you do? Why are you engaging customers? Why do you need this resource? Even the money you want to make. Why? When many people begin to define the reason they want that money, you find out that it is also still selfish. It is myopic to be on this side of the heaven, and the only thing you're thinking about is yourself. Because the world does not revolve around you. Some people made this world this great, and that's why we're all here. And that's why we've come this far. If your why is so clear, you will contribute greatly to the world around you. You will matter in that organization. Understanding your why will affect how you go to work, where you work, the relationships you keep, will determine who you marry, will determine where you go. You need to know why you are there. And most times, I tell people, define the why in all aspects of your life. Why am I getting married? Okay? And if the reason is selfish, then you're too myopic. And I'm not sure that you can do the job properly. So your why needs to be so clear. If your why is so clear, then your output will be great. But if your why is not clear, if your why is about money, you have the tendency to focus more on money, to be angered when the money is not here. So, why are you doing what you're doing? So I've talked about the first one. It's a question of your identity. The second one is a question of your purpose. So, what's the third one? Before I talk about the third one, remember what I said at the beginning, that humans are like rocks. They are like rocks, and you do not know the content until it is being unraveled. A rock given to you might be diamond, but you don't know until it is being unraveled or processed. So, aside knowing these two things about you, the third factor we're going to be talking about is, what improvement can I bring to this job, to this family, to this relationship? What can I contribute differently? Yes, you already have your identity. You already know your purpose as regards those things that you do. What about the improvements that you can bring to the table? When many people pick a job, they say, okay, I have picked a job, and then this job is transactional. All right. So from my sleep, I can decide what I'm going to do at the office. Now, if that is who you are, that everything you do on the job is transactional, I agree. A lot of things happen like that. But you must be able to look beyond that and think of how to improve the organization from your desk. You work in a bank. There are parts, there are roles that you need to play that will be able to shape in certain things. I've heard many people say things like, oh, I'm on this job and this is what I have been employed for, and I am going to focus only on this. You know, one of the things that you have done is that you have shut down your creativity, you have shut down the ability to grow. Instead, you should be able to look beyond you. And one of the things is this: if you are someone that is seeking a career in that part, you should not limit yourself to your current role. You should be thinking about improvement. How can I use my personality? How can I use my values? How can I use my purpose to be able to foster a difference in this organization? Now, for many people who sees beyond where they sit, for many people who sees or who anticipate to do much more than what they currently do in an organization, you find out that there will be opportunities for growth. So the more you think about improving that institution, the more you think about improving your marriage, the more ideas will flow towards you and the more resources will gravitate towards you. Resources that will improve your knowledge will gravitate towards you. Financial resources will gravitate towards you. So don't be a lame duck on that job. Don't be a lame person. Don't be a lazy thinker. Don't be the lazy or the weak link in your organization. Always think about it. What role can I play to improve this organization? There must be the yearning for growth. Many people will say things like, well, it's not my job, whatever, it's not my business. I'm here to just serve and make my money, and then I am out. Truth is, what you're doing is this: you're building a habit. You're building a habit, and that habit will eventually become your person. So even if you live there to do your own things, that habit will go with you. But what do you think about it when you can testify about, oh, I worked there and this was what I did, this was the difference that I made? Or you live in a certain environment. What difference are you making there? How are you improving the life, or how are you improving the life of people in that place? So humans were built for improvement. We're meant to improve ourselves and we're meant to improve the world around us. That's why we've come this far. So, what are you contributing to that organization? You may be wondering, why are we talking about values, about identity, about purpose in a financial clinic? But the reason is this: if you cannot separate yourself from the pack, you will get the same results, the same compensation with the crowd. If you cannot separate yourself from the pack, you will get the same results and the same compensation with the crowd. My question to you today is this: do you want to be with the crowd? The crowd are the people that do not earn so much. They are at the bottom of the ladder. They are the less rewarded people. Are these the people you want to identify with? Is this the kind of compensation you want to get? Is this the kind of reward you want to get? But if you must increase your income, if you must boost your income, you must increase and boost your value. The market should be able to value you more than the market currently values you. So guys, it's a free world. However, those that take on the reins are the people that call the shots. They identify themselves and they bring superior value to the table. So I'll be ending here this evening, and I hope you've learned a couple of things. And I hope that this thought would help you as you sail through the year 2025. That this will shape your mind and this will shape your results in this year. Increase your value, and then the year is going to be an amazing one for you. Thank you, everyone, for being part of this show. I'm grateful to be your host today. But next week, we are going to have our first guest on the Financial Clinic, our first guest ever. Yeah, I really thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate you. Our first guest ever is going to be coming here. You don't want to miss the show. Okay, myself, and interestingly, our first guest is going to be a female, and both of us have been on the same event, the same show at the same time, and I have seen people even say, "Wow, yes, you've been all the while." So you do not want to miss next week Thursday. So, guys, thank you so much. It's good to have you. See you in 2 weeks' time as my guest will take the reins next week. Do have a pleasant day. Bye bye.